Today I want to review something a little different. I want to talk about women in video games. Two different conversations, two sides to the same coin. But I want to talk about one character. My wife does not play video games. I make an odd request. I ask her to do an image search. Quiet, MGS 5 are the keywords in question. I asked her to look at some photos and to respond with her immediate reaction based on the character's design. The response is negative, as expected. I ask her what she thinks about the character's name, Quiet. She doesn't really know how to respond, understandably so. She sees another over-sexualized female character. It's not very alarming, not for her, it's expected. I make this request to gain a little knowledge as conversations develop and continue about the portrayal of women in all types of media. The last decade has created paths for many social movements to have virality that was not possible years ago. Dial it back to 2015 and we have Quiet, a female NPC in the game Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, with extremely revealing clothing. She's touted as a military combatant who seems clearly underdressed for whatever task is at hand. The only piece of clothing on her upper torso is a front-tied bra that leaves very little to the imagination and is the only thing supporting Quiet's breast during her military operations. A thong and black tattered see-through mesh stocking are the layers of clothing for her lower torso. When she is fully combat ready, she has an assortment of gear that does little to distract you from her sexual appeal. Some military-worthy boots and some gloves are added to the outfit. An athletic arm sleeve seems to be a part of the outfit as well, but there is a sheen on the sleeve, likely indicating that it's leather, thus eliminating any athletic properties it could have provided. Over-sexualized may be an understatement at this point. I feel the need not just to have a conversation about the over-sexualization of this particular character or any female character in video games, but actually explore more of the complexities and the parallels tied to this actual character. Quiet, in my opinion, is over-sexualized. That's a clearly accepted fact. Kojima, the mastermind behind the entirety of the Metal Gear franchise, defends his creation. To paraphrase, he mentions without context he understands the concerns, but he hopes you will understand that the company wouldn't just sexualize a character specifically for the male fantasy. Sexual interactions in the entirety of the franchise put that statement into question. Kojima asks for your patience and wants you to ask the question, why would somebody be naked in the desert? This is a valid question and speaks to the personality of this character, but understandably this question could be easily missed based on the common portrayal of women in video games. Visually speaking, Quiet appears to be another mistake in a long misogynistic history that has plagued video games. Character background wise, it doesn't get much better. It offers a reason for a scantily clad outfit, which would be positive if the reason wasn't so outlandish and complex, which may be the point. It's actually my point of this entire video, complexities. This character and the conversation she creates is and are complex. From a first-person perspective, it takes about 48 hours at least to understand why and how, and if you don't have the patience, the conversation really ends here, which is understandable. From a third-person perspective, you can watch this video, and hopefully I can get you to understand the complexities. I'm not here to defend Kojima. He can and did that himself, and how you react to it is up to you. So, why is she half naked? Well, because she tried to kill you. The opening 20 minutes of The Phantom Pain places you as the game's protagonist. You're in a hospital recovering from a violent attack that occurred 9 years ago on your headquarters, and without providing too much context, you're in the world of private military contractors and you have some powerful enemies. The same that attacked you 9 years ago is looking to finish the job. Enter Quiet, just another soldier carrying out orders. In this moment, she's fully clothed in tactical gear, which is not revealing at all. This is actually the first appearance for her in the game. She locates the hospital room you're still recovering in. You are the target. You're weak and vulnerable in this moment and hardly able to defend yourself. She begins her attack by strangling the doctor who has been caring for you for months. She slowly moves to you next, aiming a pistol at your head, ready to complete her mission. Enter Ishmael, the man who has also been recovering next to you from the same attack. He lunges at Quiet in an attempt to save your life. It works briefly until you watch Quiet throw a grown man 5 feet across a room with ease. With knife in hand now, she approaches the both of you. Ishmael, to no avail, throws scattered objects on the floor. Quiet throws the knife at Ishmael with deadly precision, striking him in the chest. He's not the target, so the focus is back to you. With Ishmael out the way, she begins to choke you to death. Luckily for you, some Deus Ex Machina is about to occur. The last object Ishmael hit Quiet with was a bottle of ethanol. Although he is in a hospital gown with no pockets, he does have a lighter on him. He sets Quiet on fire. This stops the attack. Quiet flees momentarily, but while still on fire, she attempts to crawl towards you to finish her mission. Ishmael puts a stop to the attack with another bottle of ethanol, causing Quiet to fall out of a window. Off-screen, Quiet's life is saved via sci-fi experimentation. The burns end up being a lot worse than what you see on screen. Apparently there was loss to some of her organs. This probably should have killed her, but this franchise lives in the supernatural. She undergoes parasite therapy, with them introduced to her body to keep her alive. The majority of the patients who undergo this therapy must deal with some sort of outward appearance changes, which can be drastic, be it glowing eyes, gray skin, or an overall inhuman appearance and stance. Quiet does not suffer from the same appearance change. This is not explained, but she does get all the bonuses of being a parasitic soldier. As if tossing a grown man across a hospital room wasn't enough, now she has enhanced strength, mobility, speed, invisibility, and more. However, the parasites in her had to compensate for her burned epidermis, missing digestive organs, and lungs. Quiet is basically a plant. She breathes through her skin. Clothing would actually suffocate her, so she wears as little as possible. She doesn't consume food at all and doesn't consume water normally. She absorbs it through her skin. Fresh water is good and salt water burns her. She eats via photosynthesis. It's an extremely sci-fi explanation for her outfit. Is it acceptable though? Is that an acceptable explanation for this character's obvious sex appeal? That's for you to decide. Yet personally for me, I see it as an excuse to have a sexy female character in your video game. So no, this complex reasoning is not acceptable. But the conversation doesn't stop there. Putting a pause on character development of Quiet, I go back to her appearance, attempting to see it from a different perspective. The root of the initial problem with Quiet isn't that she's dressed sexy. The problem is that she's dressed sexy with a swim model figure in the middle of a combat environment that happens to be the Afghan desert. Content ratings on media are often ignored, but helps adults determine what is and isn't for children. Metal Gear is rated M. Does that give this a pass? No, but it does quickly push out the majority of the "but think of the children" conversation. It does make way for why content like this is present. Although different, PT standards exist for women in the military. Remember how Quiet threw a grown man across the room? It took some strength to do that, and yet she's extremely petite with little to no muscle definition on her body. The point isn't that petite women aren't strong, but that Quiet's physical appearance doesn't seem to hold up to the expectations for a female military combatant. Shaming women for what they wear is an ongoing conversation that seems to be turning a corner. Women are being more vocal about not being shamed for what they wear. Regardless of what they choose to wear, it's what they choose. If a woman chose to wear something that revealed more skin than a more conservative outfit, they shouldn't be shamed for it. I believe there are some who may see what Quiet wears as empowering in a way. She's been cosplayed dozens of times. The examples are plentiful, to put it lightly. My initial review of Quiet starts off as being offended on behalf of women. I feel that she's just another sexualized NPC in an attempt to drive video game sales for a very male-centric market and industry. I silently but somehow firmly verbalize an idea that she should be more clothed. Does this shame Quiet? Is this overthinking? Do I shame women who cosplay Quiet? My thoughts are not intently malicious. The majority of my intent is clear and obviously aimed at the apparent male creators, but these different conversations regarding body and clothing shame are real and important too. Is it possible to shame a virtual character? Enter Stefanie Joosten. And I apologize if I've mispronounced that. But this is Quiet. Motion capture animations, voice, face capture, it's all her. A 5'5", seemingly petite Dutch woman, she's a singer and an actress living in Japan. Quiet's body makes a little more sense now. However, edits are still possible to make her look like whatever the developers desire. AKA if they need to make Quiet taller, change the color of her hair, or maybe add some muscle definition, they could. They didn't, and whether that's a mistake or not is completely left up to you, the viewer, and the player. It's important to bring Stefanie into the conversation for two reasons. One, it's important to put a face to the name. Quiet isn't just simply the inner machinations of Kojima's mind brought to life, but that Stefanie is the one that makes it possible that Quiet has life. And two, it's her character. What's her thoughts? If I simply trust my first instinct regarding Quiet, just being an over-sexualized character, I not only sell myself short, but I quiet the voice of a woman central to the discussion. Stefanie, during an exchange program in Tokyo, decides to get her master's. She got in touch with a casting agency specializing in Western models and quickly found a living. One day she gets a call for an audition for a video game. She doesn't know what for. The details and instructions given during the audition are vague, but after some vetting, she lands the job to play as Quiet. Controversy broke out quickly when the character was revealed. When asked about it, Stefanie revealed that she was surprised when she saw the initial sketches, but defended the appearance due to the narrative. She adds to her point that she's annoyed by the portrayal of females in some video games such as Dead or Alive, a female-heavy fighting game in which there's an ample amount of jiggle physics. She compared those characters in contrast with Quiet and separated the two. She mentions Quiet is different because she has substance. She's tough and not a helpless character being saved by men. And to that, I agree. The highs are high and the lows are low mid-game. Stefanie says that the character has substance. That's true. I stated that the character is over-sexualized. That is also true. Quiet's presence is felt strongly when she's on screen, positive or negative. The negative, close-up camera shots and pans of Quiet's body during a cutscene, male soldiers ogling Quiet as she is stuck in a jail cell at your base. She will do things like lay on her chest, unstrap her bra, and seemingly tan. Going back to the narrative, you know that she is just meeting her photosynthetic needs, but that even falls short here. The list goes on. She will shower in a cage and you can watch. Once a pool of water has been created on the floor, she will roll around the pool seemingly playing in the water. Again, the narrative, but it falls short and it feels like fan service. While riding your helicopter en route to a mission, depending on her companion level, she will stretch out in front of you and give you some clearly sexual views of her body. The game requires your character to shower if you're out in the field for too long. Another solid detail. Flies will buzz around your head and actually impede your vision while aiming down the sight of a weapon. An incredible detail for a game that is undercut, because if you return to your headquarters smelling this way and your companion level with Quiet has been maxed out, she will force you to shower with her. The scene contains no nudity as you both keep your clothes on while showering, but I don't think I need to discuss the sexual nature of the scene. So what's the positive? Can there be any with what I just mentioned? Is there actually substance beyond what initially felt like a flimsy excuse for a sexy character? To get the positives, you have to understand one more negative, at least something that starts off as negative. Why is her name Quiet? Well, because she's quiet. She does not speak. Yeah, this looks insanely bad. An over-sexualized character that doesn't speak. We are damn near striking out if we haven't already. The same sci-fi explanation we got for her appearance applies here too. However, it doesn't feel as flimsy as it's an actually important part of her story and what makes her so critical to the overall narrative as well. But how? Speaking to the narrative, Quiet is the ace in the hole. Your second interaction with Quiet is an engagement. As you traverse the Afghan landscape, you enter a valley, nearly losing your head. The Soviet forces in the area are in fear of a legendary sniper that's been picking off their forces one by one. They use the Russian word for quiet to name her. What follows after Quiet's first shot is a complicated task of attempting to outmaneuver an intelligent assassin. Unlike the hospital, you can actually fight back this time, but the fight still feels pretty one-sided. Quiet can move faster than you, can spot you from miles away, reach heights that you can't, and any air support you call in will not only be worthless, but will likely be a casualty of your conflict. She can be and is defeated though, likely earning your respect as she was mopping the floor with you. Then comes a decision. A decision that's unfortunately made in-game by a white male for a woman, which isn't adding anything positive to the conversation here. But you can choose if Quiet lives or dies. The former isn't a choice to save her, but a decision on whether to capture her and potentially torture her for information, or just kill her now and be done with it. Both options seem to be in line for a private military contractor. If you pull the trigger and decide to kill Quiet, the story ends there and there isn't much positive there. If you decide to capture her instead, you get all the negatives I discussed previously, but you also get that substance that Stefanie mentioned. Quiet can't speak because of the parasites in her are vocal cord parasites. The parasite is a manufactured bioweapon for ethnic cleansing. It specifies its target and activities based on language. If Quiet speaks or potentially even writes in English, the virus in her body would activate. This would not only kill her and lead to a horrible death as seen multiple times throughout the game, but this would start a pandemic and be a threat to English-speaking countries, aka the United States. Quiet is the ace in the hole because the plan was for her to be captured by you, speaking English during an interrogation, thus starting the virus and killing you and all of your men. Quiet, however, can speak other languages. She is apparently fluent in Navajo. She states in Navajo that she will never speak English again for fear of starting a pandemic. But it's not this that makes Quiet great, it's her personal refusal to speak. Your second in command notes that if she wanted you dead, that you would be, either with the virus parasite or by her overall badassery. Being spared and respecting your combat skills, you have earned some, but not all of Quiet's respect, at least enough to keep you alive. What follows is honestly up to you, but as you play, you can bring Quiet into the field as an ally. Those deadly sniping skills will be at your disposal. Communication is key on the battlefield, and Quiet will stay in contact with you by humming. A short hum to let you know when she spotted someone, a more melodic hum when she can take a clear shot. You can tell her to fire or stand down, and when you've gotten yourself into a tough engagement and sneaking around is no longer an option, she will open fire on all targets to save your life. Instead of being the ace in the hole to wipe you out, she turns into a friend who may be the greatest asset in what you're trying to achieve. The voice or lack thereof of a woman who determines the fate of men that they work with is a parallel to the Me Too movement that is necessary to state here. And it doesn't end there. It's Quiet's triumphant moment in the sun. Quiet is feared by the other men at the base. She's an expert assassin who can turn invisible. She's stronger and faster than anyone on that base. She could kill everyone with her bare hands if she wanted. This is what requires her to be locked up 24/7, and also bullied by some of the soldiers dumb enough to taunt her back at base. Your character, nearly being killed by her, treats her constantly with respect as he would with any soldier. The additional deployments in which she has been vital to your success create a strong but quiet bond between the both of you. It's rare when Quiet is hit by enemy forces, but an audible scream can be heard, causing her to relocate to a new position and take aim elsewhere. She doesn't ask for your help, but as an ally in the field, you know to bring it, laying down covering fire and drawing attention to yourself to give Quiet a chance to recover. Her incredible abilities don't emphasize her story, it's in her final act. There's a bit of a love story here between Quiet and your character. It's subtle, but it's present. It can obviously be attributed to her appearance, but in truth, it comes from trust. I mentioned a companion level previously being maxed out for Quiet, allowing a shower scene. The level is maximized by allowing Quiet to come out to the field with you. You are trusting this deadly sniper not to shoot you in the back while out in the field, and every time you trust her, that level goes up. That trust and respect creates the path for feelings to blossom in whatever way they can in battle. As I said before, it's subtle, but it is there. The vocal cord parasites are the core to the narrative of the story. After 2 breakouts occur on your bases, killing some of your men, Quiet sees herself as a risk despite her vow to silence. She's unfortunately captured by Soviet forces while being MIA. You begin to search for her. Via cutscene, you're able to see that her captors have a grasp on how her body works and have fully closed her, suffocating her. With the low energy that she has left, she attempts to make an escape. She is quickly caught and is now being forcibly drowned by one of the men, who stops only in an attempt to rape her. He removes her pants, giving Quiet the ability to breathe, and her abilities are restored by the water she was just in. Quiet is no damsel in distress. What appears to be an unnecessary rape scene feels validated when Quiet not only escapes her captors, but proceeds to slaughter all of them. Your character finds Quiet at the end of this conflict, not needing your help at all. She does, however, bring you weapons, as a very pissed off Soviet tank unit is on approach to deal with you. It feels like another day in the field with Quiet as you dispatch enemies one by one. Things get escalated though when a tank round knocks Quiet unconscious and a sandstorm blows through. Using the storm as cover, you carry your injured ally to some semblance of safety. The enemy is still on your trail, so staying hidden is your best chance at survival. Throughout the entirety of the game, you have faced a variety of enemies and military machines that could take over a small country overnight. With all your achievements, it's ironic and shocking that your downfall would be a snake bite. A cobra goes unnoticed and manages to bite you. Its venom setting in quickly. Quiet is still unconscious and you black out too. After some time, your radio begins to go off. Your chopper pilot is attempting to rescue you. Quiet regains consciousness before you do. The pilot can't locate you during the sandstorm. He mentions that the conditions are bad and he can't stay much longer. Quiet is aware that time is of the essence, and if she wants to save your life, you need immediate extraction to get medical assistance for this snake bite. Quiet grabs the radio, speaking in Navajo, attempting to get the pilot to understand the location for pickup, but he doesn't speak the language and he assumes what he hears is due to static. Knowing time is short and the pilot can't stay forever, she breaks her vow. She speaks English to help the pilot track them for extraction, thus sealing her fate. Your life is saved via anti-venom, and another search is conducted for Quiet. Some tracks are found, but they lead to a cassette hanging from a tree. Playing the cassette reveals Quiet's final words.
I did not choose to be quiet. I wanted to express my feelings to you. If only we shared a common tongue.
Vengeance was what drove me to them. The only language left to me, revenge. But the words we shared, no, that was no language at all. That is why I chose the language of gratitude instead and go back to silence. I am quiet. I am the absence of words.
So what's the point? Is it to not judge a book by its cover? No, it's more complex than that. And that is the point. That this is a complex character. Portrayal of women in video games is complex because of our history. The same could be said for black characters, but we're focusing on women today. Quiet's character perhaps adds more questions to the discussion than answers. She probably isn't the ideal female character for representation of women or representation of women in combat, but she's not without quality. Could she have been the same quality without the sex appeal? In my opinion, yes, but narratively, technically no. Quiet manages to create a lot of interesting conversations with who she is, from her appearance to her actions, and how that can parallel to the issues that women face. What do I think personally? I think Quiet provides an interesting dialogue for everyone, men especially. Quiet is an over-sexualized character. But Quiet is not defined by her appearance. She's defined by her actions in the story, and more importantly, by the woman who plays her. Kojima does fail her initially, but Quiet seeks her own redemption based on who she is. A powerful woman, not just physically, but mentally too. Being an ally to women goes beyond feeling offense on their behalf based on how a woman is dressed or how their body type is portrayed. Listening and not reacting first and deferring to women on the topic of women is also ideal. Quiet is the absence of words, but that absence does not lack meaning, which Quiet is full of. Whether that's a commentary on the clothing women wear to battle, or in general in video games, or a fierce character able to communicate more with her actions than her actual words. Two sides of the same coin.